Hi, I'm James.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Hi, I'm Clear.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Hi, I'm Nicole. And hi, I'm Luke.
Hi, I'm Joe, and you're watching Underdog Crew TV.
I would like to get this man behind the camera to come here quickly. I'd like to introduce our Underdog Crew Studio head of camera, Mr. Colin Toft. Get your head in here. This is Colin. He's our resident camera tutor, and Colin is basically our head cinematographer that's going to be doing the trailer. Go on in, back behind there. Lovely to meet you, Colin. I'd like to introduce you to our live studio audience. Hello, everybody. Hello. So, without further ado, hi. My name's DB Morgan. I'll come to who I am and what I do in a minute. But this is Underdog Crew TV, and this is the very first episode for our YouTube channel. We will be hosting the show every single week, and you can follow us, like, subscribe, and you can email us in with questions. Every week we're going to be having different presenters, and you'll find you've gone from us two ugly old guys to the teenagers who's going to gradually be taking over presenting. And every week we're going to have guest presenters and a wonderful presenter tutor who's called Nicola Kelleher, and she's going to be training everybody in TV presenting and acting. And every show we're going to show snippets of what's been going on during the week and what we're up to with different projects in our studio. Now you might see I'm not on my own. I've got this little chap next to me.
Stumpy.
He's called Stumpy, and he is Mike Rushforth. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Mike.
Hi everybody, Mike Rushforth, actor, and work with Dom quite a bit. My nickname's Stumpy for a production we're in called The Great Brookside Burvis at a minute. Also I'll be appearing in Slip, very, very privileged to be working with Dom and a huge array of talented other people. I'd like to, Dom touched on something very briefly just then, anxiety. I think we all suffer it, we all suffer a degree of anxiety. I think in males there's a bit of a stigma, and I'd like to talk about that today. As we get some screen time, I do believe anxiety and men's mental health needs a bit more of a voice. As a man, I tried to deal with mine about 2 months ago by shutting myself off from the world. I stopped answering my phone, I stopped working, I run my own business, so that was detrimental to my living. Stopped answering friends' calls, emails, messages, shut myself away, and believed that whatever I was going to do, I was going to have a severe panic attack and die. So I was in a very, very dark place. And as a man, you don't feel like you can reach out and talk to someone about it. You think, I can fix this, I've got this, but I was hitting such a downward spiral. I became incredibly low and got very, very ill. And two very, very good friends of mine came a very, very long way and stayed a very long time outside my house until they managed to break in to check that I was okay. And I'd like to say thank you to Lee, our production manager, and also I'd like to say thank you to Chloe Clennon, who's an actress for The Slip. They're two very good friends of mine.
And the person on the phone?
And the person on the phone, Dr. DB Morgan, who is the closest thing I've got to a father, truth be told, and I love you with all my heart, as you know, with the 55-minute voice messages I send him that he loves. Yeah, I'll just sit and read in the New Testament.
I think I'm going to cut in here. I mean, I think you're right. There's such a stigma, a huge stigma, and a major part of the Underdog Crew is embracing these things, making people realise that it's not something that can be pretended and be hid away from, that isn't happening. It's not something you can see a plaster or a bandage around, you know, and it's still, even though it's becoming so much better now, with the way people are talking about it, it's still stigmatised, and it's still, I mean, myself, as a drug user for 20 odd years, I gave myself serious mental health problems myself because of my own past, suffering from PTSD and autism. And I think people talk about panic attacks and anxiety, and I think it's really banded around sometimes quite easily today.
It is. One saying I do find incredibly annoying, if you scroll through Facebook and you see someone put, oh, I've broke a fingernail, I've had a panic attack. And I think to myself, if you knew what a real panic attack is, I don't know if any of the crowd has had a severe anxiety attack, if you put the symptoms of a heart attack on paper and then put the symptoms of an anxiety attack next to it, it's very, very similar, which is why a lot of people call it the emergency services.
No, I've done that myself.
When they're having a panic attack, because the symptoms are so similar. I got to a point where I was having 10 to 20 of those attacks a day, and on one occasion I even rang my brother to say goodbye to him because I thought I was dying. And
I've had similar.
yeah,
You know,
and it took two very good friends of mine and Dom on the phone to make me realise that I can't do it by myself. And the message I want to give out and use this as an avenue, because Dom's touched on it as well, is no matter how, I mean, I'm a big lump, I weigh 21 stone, I'm 6'2" and I'm a big lump.
So?
I was crying down the phone to a lady I'd never met before, crying to my dead mother for help, and it's only through the two friends that came around and broke into my house to make sure I was still alive, it took that for me to realise to get help.
After getting his jewellery and his...
Yeah, once it pilfered.
Couldn't get his teeth out.
Yeah. And I just want to give it a voice. I mean, there's still a stigma. Dom's mentioned it, I've mentioned it. There's such a stupid stigma. And I think what's helped me is realising, damn, I'm ill and I need to talk to someone. And I did, and I got professional help. And 2 months ago, when I'm laying in my pit thinking I can't do anything because I'm going to have a severe anxiety attack, I'd never imagine I'd be sitting here with you amazing people and getting out of my house. There's a message out there, no matter what dark place you're in, just talk to someone, sod all the stigma, and fight it. Just like Dom said, because I haven't got a neck brace on and a broken arm, people can't see the battle I'm having daily inside my head, and a lot of other people, and there may be people in this room that are battling the same as well. So
it is a battle. It
is a battle. Even to go to my local Tesco's to get a small basket full of shopping was one of the biggest battles I've ever had, because I associated that with having severe anxiety attacks.
Me too. I mean, still to this day, and I'll explain. I mean, lift. I had such a problem with going in a lift until recently. I've just beaten that one.
You feel trapped.
I had
no escape.
And it's all exactly. And it's for my things. My triggers are feeling trapped. But I've kind of it's not good, because I've got claustrophobia and I've got agoraphobia as part of my anxiety. But also I've got fear of open spaces and large crowds. So in other words,
pretty much everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So the one thing, I had a major panic attack in a car wash, and I had to. It was
trapped. You can't get out.
And I didn't realise the shutters were going to close. And this was at the Esso on East Road in Colchester, and there was an emergency number. I had to ring the store, and they came out and they pressed the button and did it. And I said, by the time, as soon as I saw it open up, I was all right. And I said to the lady, I said, "Sorry, love, I'm having a panic attack." And she looked at me and he was like, "Well, you look pretty normal to me."
This is the trouble, because we're big lumps, people think we're indestructible, but no, we suffer as well. And
I'm so limited with things like, I used to drive to Cornwall quite a lot, you know. I can just now see myself probably doing that again. I had a mild but a long panic attack driving down the M25.
Yes.
So going on the M25 is a problem now for me.
Yeah.
You know, so these all things, although I'm dealing with it, and it's silly because I've made 3 feature films, I'm doing all this because I refuse to let it stop me. So what I've done is I've brought Hollywood to me.
Yes, you have.
So, and like when we're on a film set, I have my family around me.
Yep.
So I've got all my grounding techniques and my people.
It's not only your blood family, we've become family, because there's people in this room, we are family because we've been in production together as well.
Exactly. And
if you're working with people you're comfortable with, half of the trouble with the anxiety is, I get it every time I go to a job, you don't know the variables. Until you get to this job and you know what you've got to do, you're going to be faced with, you get that anxiety belly. And you can't ignore it because it's real.
It's a new situation.
It's a new situation. But once you're there, I said this to my daughter the other day, who also suffers. I said, 1, don't be a slave to it. It's the best advice I can give anyone with anxiety. Don't be a slave to it. And 2, the build up to the event is more anxious than the actual event itself.
Exactly.
Because once you're in, you've got the variables, you've met the people, you find yourself calming down, but it's the build up to it. Anxiety, it has got a name now and it is out there. And it is a recognised condition, but unless you've had a real bad panic attack, and then I have what I call shadow attacks. So if I'm not fully like that, I'm nursing one and coping with one behind the scenes.
And you're counting the scale of where it is. And I mean, just in summary, this is really interesting to the audience as well. A lot of you know this, lots of you don't. On June the 9th, basically a month ago, I took myself to casualty, and I'd been ill for a couple of weeks, and I woke up with the most excruciating gastric pains you could ever imagine. And what it was, and by 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd been assessed and I was having a life-saving surgery because I had a burst ulcer that had then eroded and perforated my lower bowel and a thing called the duodenum. And if that had been left, that would have formed sepsis and I could have died. And my big anxieties are going to the doctors, going to the hospital, because I'm convinced, no, I've got cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got brain tumor. Oh, I've got bowel cancer. But what's really weird is everything I went through with this real trauma, I didn't have any anxiety, I didn't have any fear, because I suppose it was quite easy.
Because you were in the moment.
Because I was in the moment.
If someone told you 2 weeks before, you're going to be really ill in 2 weeks, that 2 weeks would have been healthy. But because all of a sudden you're thrust into it, that the anxieties can't push to one side and you're able to fight.
It's such a weird, misunderstood thing, and it's kind of like the stupidest, simplest little things that
trigger you.
Yeah, and that's fine. So, but that's it. I mean, look at us 2 guys. Yeah, we're hardly wallflowers.
Delicate little flowers, don't you know?
And we thought it was really good actually for the very first episode of Underdog Crew TV to be really open about mental health, because that's by nature of what we're doing with all our students and members. We are all underdogs in our own way, and what we're saying is, good, embrace it, grow from it, and because we're underdogs, you will grow up stronger than so many people that have lived their lives without adversity, because you'll understand struggle, and that's going to become your armour as you get older. So, and with us, we're just going to get some really creative stuff going. And welcome to Underdog Crew TV.
Yes.
We've said our bit on mental health, guys. Yeah.
So can I just say one last thing, Dom?
Yeah, of course.
So if anyone in this room, obviously during the production or during anything that we're doing, don't hide it. If you're feeling anxious, you're feeling like you want to talk to someone, but you can't. I find it's better to talk to someone you don't know as well as you do know your best friend. So the thing that helped me and the thing that has got me to this table, sitting here with Dom and all my friends and all these new people I'm meeting today, is because I actually opened up and talked about it instead of trying to deal with it on my own. So that's a big thing. I know people keep saying talk. No, literally talk.
But it really does help.
Because it's almost like a release.
Yeah.
It's almost like a release off your shoulders. And I would not have seen myself here 2 months ago in the state I was in. So
we'll put a link at the end, linking to some really good organisations that help with like youth mental health stuff and
therapy for you,
charities.
Amazing. Yeah.
So before we sign off, guys, I'd like to open up to the studio audience. Anyone like to ask us any questions at all?
Charlie Rich. I'm in this film. I'm playing Pills, who's the guy that thinks he's a lot harder than he is. So his uncle was basically kingpin of this underworld because of that, he thinks he can throw himself about. Really, he's just behind his uncle's shoulder.
So my name is John Paul Gates, no relation to Bill, although I've been working on it for many, many years. And in this particular film, I play a character called the Slick Barman.
My name is Frances Brodie Aldridge. I played Shelley Bass in the film, which was a brilliant part.
Yeah, Shah Hussain, I play Husselis in the movie Morrisman. It's 450. I think the story from start to finish was great. I think everyone brought character to their role.
So what was that? Krav Maga, ninjutsu?
It's called, which knows? It showed the eskrima, the MMA element of it, the parkour side of things, kickboxing, you know, you name it. So it was exactly what it said on the tin.
Mate, give it time.
An all-round action-packed film which covered all the arts, and yeah, with a great storyline as well.
If I see you round here, I'll smash your face in. You try.
Hi, I'm Mike, and you're watching Underdog Crew TV. And this is the thing, Rodney, whenever I've met you, when I met you on the boat, when we were filming the music video, it took me 2 diazepam to get to there because I was suffering then. But I wear this mask, I call it my coat of armour. When I put my clothes on, when I put my work clothes on, that's my defence mechanism. So I can be cheerful. I was very cheerful with you. I did an interview with you. I had an amazing time with the band. Me and Don were taking the mick out of each other. Me and Chloe had the best laugh. Lee was amazing as well. We had such fun with Lee. But the whole time I was incredibly anxious, incredibly low. And when I left and I got home and took my mask off, metaphorically, and my clothes, I was like...
Nobody understands how wearing it is.
Because, yeah, it's heavy to wear that mask of armour. But as I sit here genuinely now, I'm in a much, much better place. This is not a mask, this is the real me. A bit inappropriate sometimes. And for the sense of humour, I've got a little bit of a funky sense of humour, and I'm a bit of a wally, and I'm a bit loud. I love performing. But this is the real me today. I'm on the road to recovery.
You've been to that dark place that we got there.
Very dark. Very dark. I don't want to bring, you know, the kind of thoughts I was having, I don't really want to discuss because there's younger people here, but I didn't see a way past. And the one word my therapist said to me I kept using was should have. I should be at work. I used to look out the window because I run my own business. I should be at work. I should be earning money. I should be down the pub with my brother because he's asked me to go down for a game of pool. I should be doing this. And all she said was, all I'm hearing is should. Yeah. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. Go to Tesco's. Let's take baby step. Go to Tesco's and not have a panic attack. Then come home and reward yourself. Because I was always beating myself up. Oh, I can't even go to Tesco's. What is wrong with me? I'm
micro goals, isn't it?
Broken,
celebrating micro achievements.
And then I'd go to 3 to 4 jobs a day when I'm healthy. I was going to 1 job a day, and then feeling a bit shaky still. But I'd come home and go, Mike, you smashed that job. It's all about self-reward, self-care. Definitely don't be a slave to it. And also, the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm probably boring the pants off of everybody in here.
I get this every day.
My therapy, yeah, his voice notes there, like he gets off me. He loves, by the way. So everybody send him a 10-minute voice note. He loves it. My therapist said to me, you're never going to be free from anxiety. Once you've got it, you're never going to be free for it. But say this to it. I know you're there. You know, anxiety's here. I know you're there. You're not messing with me today, but I know you're there. It's fine. But you're not ruining my day today. Yeah, and that is probably the best bit of advice, because as a human with severe anxiety disorder, you want to get rid of it completely, but that's not realistic. Once you've got anxiety, unfortunately, you've got it for life. But when it tries to raise its weary head, like on the way to here tonight, I was having a bit of a belly. I was like, oh God, you know. I said, look, I know you're there, Mr. Anxiety. I know you're going to be there forever, but you ain't ruining my night. I'm going to have an amazing night, see my family, meet a load of new people, and have an amazing time.
That's
and
what
it's,
that, mate. Now, basically, is there any of our teenage members that would like to ask one final question? Be really interested to see if there's anything that you might like to know. Anyone?
Tumbleweed.
They're in here, honestly.
There's a tumbleweed.
There's a tumbleweed.
Running across the ground.
Okay, let's try a different way, right? Is anybody here freely admitting that they suffer with anxiety? Okay, there's a lot of hands coming up here. If we're honest,
Well done.
there are more than half of us in the room here now. Had any of you, rather than the hands up now, because I realise that doesn't work on screen because we can't see it. Okay, so let's go with like a yes or a whoop or one of us. Is there anyone here that's actually related to anything that we've been talking about?
Yep.
Okay, has anyone kind of had any kind of reassurance in the long term that helps you realise that you're actually pretty normal?
Yep.
Yeah? And is there anyone, do we all believe that with embracing and acknowledging and talking, you can actually rise above it and learn to live with it as a little gremlin that lives on your shoulder that you can eventually learn to just sweep away? There you go. So, I've been Don Morgan, this is Underdog Crew TV.
I've been Mike Rushforth, this is Underdog TV.
Peace and love to you all, see you next week.
Big love.